This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. A St. Croix school employee is disciplined for apparently wearing inappropriate clothes while teaching class online. The Virgin Islands Department of Education says it got wind of a photo circulating on social media of an employee inappropriately dressed while holding virtual classes with students at the St. Croix Central High School back on October 12th. VI Department of Education has denounced the teacher's actions and taken action themselves against the employee. The employee's been removed from teaching while an investigation is underway, and they've been denied any further access to department-owned email and video conferencing accounts that allow online interaction with students. Also, an investigative hearing is set for October 13th with the employee in question, union representatives, and Department of Education officials as part of the required due process. Appropriate further action may be taken as the investigation unfolds. VI Department of Education Commissioner Raquel Berry-Benjamin said in a statement, "Our employees are held to the highest standards of decorum and professionalism, and the Department of Education will not condone behaviors that fall outside of these expectations when it comes to any of our staff, particularly our teaching professionals," end quote. The department is now going to have more training for faculty on the appropriate dress code for teaching virtually. A new cruise ship makes its way to St. Thomas this week. Carnival Freedom makes its first call to St. Thomas since resuming service. Carnival Cruise Line says Carnival Freedom arrived in St. Thomas this Wednesday for the first time since the industry-wide pause in operations. Carnival Freedom is the fourth Carnival ship to resume operations from Miami when it departed last week on an 8-day Eastern Caribbean cruise. St. Thomas is the ship's second port of call. It's then going to be headed to San Juan this week. The president of Carnival Cruise Line says in a statement to USVI News, she thanked its partners here in St. Thomas for working with them to bring safe cruising and guests back to the port in St. Thomas. Carnival has more than half of its U.S. fleet in operation, and additional ships will resume service in the coming weeks and months as Carnival's successful restart of operations continues. A judge temporarily preventing United Airlines from putting employees on leave if they request vaccine exemptions. The order applies to about 2,000 workers who gave religious or medical reasons for not taking the COVID shots. 97% of United employees complied with the vaccine mandate, but 6 people who didn't are suing. The judge says he's not ruling on the case's merits right now, just maintaining the status quo during arguments. The lawsuit is happening in Texas, where the governor is trying to ban vaccine mandates. We're seeing another day of COVID case counts slowly declining throughout the territory. That is the good news. St. Croix is still seeing high numbers, but it's down from earlier this week by 30 cases. According to the latest numbers from the Virgin Islands Department of Health, 121 people are currently testing positive for COVID-19. There are 104 active cases in St. Croix, 15 in St. Thomas, and 2 in St. John. So you might soon be able to get booster shots of the Johnson & Johnson or Moderna vaccines, as the FDA is going to meet this Thursday to discuss booster shots of those particular vaccines. Meantime, another drug maker is asking the agency to authorize emergency use of its COVID-19 treatment pill.
More than 7 million Americans have already received a Pfizer booster shot, and now an FDA advisory panel is getting ready to consider whether to approve boosters for the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines as well.
We would like to make sure that their protection is also boosted so that they won't get infections that are even mild, let alone serious enough to put them in the hospital.
Among the questions the experts are expected to address, how much vaccine should be in the Moderna booster? The drug maker says 50 micrograms, half of what was in the original 2 doses, should be enough. There are also questions on when people should get the Johnson & Johnson booster. The company submitted data for 2 options, at 2 months or at 6 months after the original vaccination.
And I think the FDA will look at this. Can you mix and match? Can you start with J&J and finish with either Moderna or Pfizer? The mix and match issues are also on the table.
The FDA is also considering whether to authorize emergency use for Merck's COVID-19 treatment that comes in a pill. The drug maker says early trials show molnupiravir cut hospitalizations and deaths by about half.
Just imagining as a primary care physician the power of an oral outpatient medication such as molnupiravir, it would be a remarkable game changer.
The drug is targeted at unvaccinated people who have already developed symptoms.
The White House has already put in an initial order for 1.7 million doses of that drug, molnupiravir. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, a time when health leaders and survivors share the importance of early screenings. Many people were pushed off those routine checkups during the COVID-19 pandemic, but one woman USVI News spoke with recently says a routine test is what likely saved her life. Our USVI News' Haley Potter brings us her story.
In February of 2020, at age 36, Sarah Johnson was diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was diagnosed with stage 2 invasive ductal carcinoma.
Her cancer was detected early at a checkup done only because the gene runs in her family. Her grandmother had breast cancer, so Sarah was more likely to get diagnosed at a young age. Doctors didn't detect anything on a mammogram, but found the breast cancer through an MRI.
We were just doing routine testing because I had the gene, so that's how we found it. So like I said, did the chemo and then did the double mastectomy and total hysterectomy.
And in August, she celebrated her 1 year being cancer-free, but says early detection is what helped her. So she stresses the importance of routine checkups and mammograms, something many people put off, especially during the pandemic.
Don't put it off. Don't say, oh, well, maybe next month. You know, I was thankful that mine wasn't ever canceled.
She says there are also ways to detect breast cancer at home, and getting comfortable with your own body is key.
If you notice any lumps, any nipple discharge, any thickening of your skin, just anything that's not normal. I mean, we know our body's best, honestly, so don't just go off of the once every 365 days. Some guy that doesn't, know you that well, checks.
And that was our Haley Potter reporting. October is also Pedestrian Safety Month. So this October, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Virgin Islands Office of Highway Safety announced the first National Pedestrian Safety Month with the goal of increasing awareness about pedestrian safety and reminding drivers and walkers that staying safe is a shared responsibility. So here are some safety tips for pedestrians from the Virgin Islands Police Department. Walk on sidewalks if one is not available. Walk facing traffic and as far away from the traffic as possible. Always keep alert. Don't be distracted by electronic devices that take your eyes and ears off the road. Whenever possible, cross streets at crosswalks or intersections where drivers expect pedestrians. If there is not one of those, cross in a well-lit area and make sure that there is a gap in traffic. Be visible at all times, wear bright clothing during the day and reflective materials, or use a flashlight at night. Never assume a driver sees you. And watch for cars entering or exiting driveways or reversing in parking lots too. Some good reminders there. The Supreme Court upholds a federal ban on cockfighting in Puerto Rico. In 2018, Congress amended the Animal Welfare Act to criminalize cockfighting in all states, including jurisdictions where it is allowed under local law. Several organizations and individuals in Puerto Rico sued. They say the sport is deeply in commerce, which Congress has the power to regulate.